messy action is better than no action. And a lot of people will literally not do any marketing because they're scared that it's going to look shit or it's going to be bad. What would my company think of what I'm posting? And I always think, well, how bad is it going to, like, what are you planning on posting? Do you know what I mean? Like, should you be working there if what you're going to say is going to get you fired? Years and years ago in the tribes, the marketeers would be the person that would leave the tribe, go to the other one and convince that tribe that we're all right over here. Do you want to swap some stuff?
Do you see a pattern, like with businesses that you work or in general, that you think, you know, I see this across the board, you know, this is what they're getting wrong?
A lot of the effectiveness of marketing can't be quantified because it's like, how are you measuring how you're making someone feel? Like, you can't put data on that.
I guess, you know, there are companies that, you know, smaller companies that can't afford an agency like you. Is there any advice? How can they get the ball rolling, you know, make this marketing happen?
Bad time to sort of start marketing is when you've run out of customers.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Use it as an emergency service.
It's not a good litmus test of being like, oh shit, we've run out of customers, we now need to start marketing.
Oh, man. But I bet you get that a lot. Marcus Verrell, welcome to Brands and Leaders.
Thanks very much for having me.
Is this background icy enough?
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, it's definitely icy enough. Yeah, is that the color blue?
Well, this is it. I actually specifically, I didn't mention anything just before starting, but this is a specific reason why, you know, it's blue, because it can be any crazy color because it's RGB.
It's staying icy right there. I mean, I don't actually know where that tagline came, or not tagline, it's my sign off.
Yeah, it's your sign off.
I don't know where
part
it came
of your
from.
signature.
Yeah, I have no idea what it even means, to be honest. But
you know, it's part of, you know, the day-to-day now.
Yeah, exactly. It's become part of me, yeah.
Give us a bit, like 1-2 minutes, you know, about you, because you're doing a few things. I was going to say Marcus from Snap, but then it's Marcus from the band that you're part of, you know, it's Marcus from other areas, from LinkedIn, you know, you do all sorts.
There's a lot. It's quite a long history. I mean, how long have you got? But no, so currently marketing sort of strategist and manager at Snap, local agency. I also play in a series of bands. I'll just plug all of them. Why not? So there's Ruby Rouge, disco sort of party band. Then there's Elsie and the Emeralds, which is like a jazz band for all your kind of like corporate entrance, drinks, arrival kind of events. And then we've got Slap and Tickle, which is like an acoustic duo where I play the cajon and my mate Nick sings. And then I also do DJ and bongoing as well. So I'm very busy outside of work as well as work. And up until recently, I was on the IID as well, helping them with marketing. But due to my boss now about to have a baby, I had to take a step back from that because it was just too busy.
Because you're going to take a step forward in your role now, probably. Yeah?
Yes. Well, I'm now going to be picking up on things. And it's very easy in this day and age to say yes to loads and loads of things. And then you end up very stretched and you end up not doing the things you're meant to be doing very well because you're spread too thin. But yeah, sort of about 6-7 years into my marketing career, started out in hospitality marketing, actually.
Oh man, I studied in hospitality, but nothing to do with marketing, just cooking. But
yeah,
it's just such a fast pace, you know, to learn pretty much everything.
Yeah, and it's all encompassing as well as an industry. So I was in like travel, but like obviously like marketing hotels, which kind of falls under hospitality. And it was really interesting how I got into that because I was flying over from the UK to Jersey back and forth.
Oh, was it like a big chain of hotels?
Yeah,
or something,
so they
like
were
a group.
Yeah, it was Clink Hostels is the name of what they were. And so I was flying back and forth from the UK to here to see my girlfriend at the time, who isn't my wife now. Anyway, but flying back and forth, and then I actually met the woman who owns the company on the plane, Anne, her name was, Anne Dolan. And we just got chatting on the plane. I remember classic Jersey style. The plane went round.
Dolan?
Yes.
But I used to work for
not Dolan Hotels, though.
Oh, not Dolan Hotel.
Yeah, so it's a different thing. Again, very Jersey and very confusing. But yeah, classic Jersey style. We couldn't land the plane because of all the fog. So we got chatting and she happened to be doing a presentation. And me being the inquisitive, annoying person I am, I was like, what are you doing? And then got chatting and turned out she was doing like a rebrand marketing presentation. And I'd just done my degree in media and popular culture and was like, I'm looking for a job in marketing. So have you got any jobs? Got chatting, landed in Jersey, went and handed my CV in and then got my first job in marketing. And 7 years later, here I am.
Still loving it.
Still loving it. Still in Jersey. Slightly more stressed than I was back then, though. I didn't really realize the career I was taking on.
Is it more stressful when you do it if you work in an agency? I never work in an agency. I work for BDOC5, in the marketing department. It just feels like, you're kind of working with the same client, so it makes it easier. It's predictable in a way. It doesn't have that, ups and downs. You don't really get. Well, you do get excited, but it's everything is kind of predictable. It's almost like following a book. But.
Yeah, I mean, so I did sort of 5 years at Clink, so client side, and then I did 2 years at Digital Jersey, where I did quite a lot of kind of like marketing advice to the tech sector and like the Digital Jersey members, and then I've now gone full agency side. Agency side is definitely quite a stressful scenario. Like you're worrying about a lot of accounts all of the time, and me being sort of marketing strategist, account manager, project manager, someone who is in charge of a lot of content for clients and Snap, there is a hell of a lot of moving parts. So if you're like me and you're a bit scatterbrained and you like a lot of things going on a lot of the time, then great. If you're wanting like predictable, structured days where you're like doing the same thing every day and you feel like you're making progress
not
on
for
one
you.
thing, not for you, definitely not. But like it is great. Like it suits me down to a T. I love meeting new people. I love like seeing the look on clients' faces when we've provided real value for them, or they, we've done a rebrand for them and it's amazing, or we run a marketing campaign and they see the effectiveness of it, or we put together a strategy and it starts coming to life and it's working. That's all great. And one advantage of being agency side is when you're in-house and you work in a marketing team, I don't know if you've experienced this, but no one listens to you. So So basically, you have an idea.
It feels like it's more legit that always like the advice from outside. It
We'll
feels
ask
like
an agency, because they must know.
I mean, to be fair, to a degree, I give you credit for that, because obviously you see so many accounts, you see so many, you deal with so many companies, and you have a better oversight to it, I guess. Yeah,
you see a lot, and there is something to be said for that. Like I can definitely understand why a lot of people in-house will consult with agencies and get their advice, because that is what they do every day. But I always remember being in-house at Clink, and I'm like, but I work in marketing all day, every day. Why are we asking an agency to do something before getting my opinion and I work here?
Because it feels like you're not trusted, or you feel like you're there
I'm like,
for no
what's the point? Where it's like, why are you paying me if you're then just going to pay me to ask an agency for me to then tell you what the agency has said? Like, it was weird, But then as you get more senior, and now I'm at an agency and people listen to me and like, they start doing the strategies that you've said, it's great. Like I wouldn't change it for a world being at, or change it for anything being at an agency for sure. But sometimes you do have, like before Christmas, we were all so busy, and there was definitely a few sort of wanting to flip the table moments and sort of storm out and be like, not through anyone like particularly like pissing you off or anything individual, but just like the compounding effect of having to worry about a lot of stuff for a long period of time.
And it's also, I think it's okay, you schedule a lot of stuff again, I guess, over Christmas, and if let's say you got something to do to post during that time, but you're also working, like, for example, I think Dunel's is one of your clients, right?
Yeah.
So that's the time when, they need banging,
so
all that marketing, all the campaigns out.
Yeah.
So if you get a few clients like that, that's very demanding. I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's tricky because with every client, there's their own kind of like unique aspects of it that make that account, I want to say the word challenging. Do you see what I mean? So obviously with Dunel's we've been doing, which are a great client, love working with them. It's really good to be in like a B2C sort of client, and you can do a lot of the social media that we've been doing for them and all the little skits and the ideas and stuff. They've been absolutely fantastic at being like, okay, we'll do that then, like, and getting in front of the camera, because so many people are scared to, if I say, right, I need to make a silly video of you rolling around on a table and I'm going to put a gust of wind behind it, and the joke is go wherever the wind takes you, which was one of their latest videos. A lot of people would just be like, nah, we're not doing that. They're stupid. But they've been so good at getting behind all the ideas.
I was going to say, because like, I don't think they've done any, well, they've not done much, that's for sure, but probably no video till you guys took over their marketing. And then, I don't know, what's the process? How do you convince people, to get into video? Because obviously it's a powerful tool, repurposing as well is big. And especially if he's the owner or someone senior, it gets it's very well received. How do you convince these people to do it?
You tell me. I mean, it's very hard. That is the hardest bit of marketing, is to convince people to do the things that you know are going to be effective for them, especially when it's stuff that isn't necessarily quantifiable. So yes, you can kind of track, you know, the impressions of a Instagram video or the engagement and stuff like that over time. But it's a very slow burn with organic stuff. So you're not going to do one stupid video and then all of a sudden you've made, I don't know, £1 million in your online shop selling wine. Like that's, but we were very frank with Jane and Neil about that approach. And what we did was we embedded that within a broader strategy. And I think a lot of people will try and sell video as the be all and end all without the bigger strategic picture. So we did a lot of work around their brand strategy and how they're positioned. And then we did a lot of work on their marketing strategy as well. And we knew that from their brand strategy, we needed to try and move their brand towards being more inviting to people that aren't necessarily wine drinkers every day or that aren't that as interested in wine. And a key part of that was reaching the audiences on Instagram. And how do you do that? It's through video. But it wasn't, we need you to do video and then trying to explain the value of doing video. It was, here's the broader strategy. One of the key elements within this strategy is reaching new people and trying to get younger people into your stores and buying your products. So this is how we do that. And it might mean that you've got to roll around on tables and do silly things with bottles of wine, and you know, you've got to do little piece to camera bits, and even managed to convince Neil, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying, but I convinced him to do this video for Wimbledon, like top wines to enjoy when you're at Wimbledon, and he put all his like tennis gear on, and he did it's like a few sort of headband, and he's chucking tennis balls around and stuff like that. And to see people who are owners of businesses do that and fully go with it, and now they're seeing the kind of the benefit of doing it, and now they're in full swing, and now the rest of their team, after the owners of sort of the founders or whatever, the senior people within the company, they've led the way, and then now their team is getting way more involved, and we've kind of made it a bit of fun. It's like a nice thing to do every now and then, have a little content recording day, and you know, all get behind it and all just have a laugh basically. And at the end of the day, you then get a nice reel of content that's all been done within half a day, and you've got video content for the rest of the month all sorted, and it's actually really easy to do. So I don't know how you convince people though to do it, other than start at the top.
Other than doing it.
Yeah, other than like doing it and then seeing the effectiveness of it. Yeah, it's hard.
But how do you choose? How do you decide on platforms? I kind of get it, you know, if let's say you're on a consumer side, you have certain platforms, but is there something else? Like how do you find where people would be more attached to that brand? What's the platform? How do you do it? What's the process when you do that bigger picture strategy?
So I mean, it really depends from client to client. I think a lot of people fall into the trap with marketing of going, oh, TikTok, everyone's on TikTok, we need to be on TikTok, or oh,
it's
LinkedIn.
Going with the trend.
Yeah. So they just kind of they don't look at, again, the bigger picture strategy. They kind of focus on what other people are doing. And they're halfway there in focusing on what other people are doing, but rather than focusing on what your competitors are doing, you need to be focusing on what your audience is doing. So spend some time looking at where your audience is living and look at where they're spending time, and then produce content that is applicable to that audience and to the platform. Because again, a lot of people just make content and they don't think about how is this content fit for platform. So they get lost in the sauce with creating all of this stuff, but they're not really thinking platform first when it comes to content. But really, it's all just a case of like looking at your audience and understanding them. And it's not that hard to kind of step back away from your business for a second and go, okay, who actually are our customers, and what are we trying to achieve, and who are we trying to speak to? And a lot of people don't even think, like, don't question themselves before they post something. Is this providing value to my audience? Is this moving the dial for my business at all? Or am I just adding noise to this platform that I'm on for some reason that I don't really know? So starts with understanding your audience, then understand the platform, then understand the format that's applicable for the platform, and then just have some fun with it as well, especially if it's organic content. Like I think people take content too seriously.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Yeah. I mean, I'm Romanian. I probably shouldn't be here. You know, my English is not great. I don't really care. You know, I'm doing it anyway. You want to do it better? Do it better.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like, and it's the same with cooking. And I kind of got it from there, because with cooking is like politics, you know, everybody's got an opinion, or like football, you know, like, you should have done it. Like, do it.
Yeah. And how have you found that with regards to like the feedback and things that you're getting from other people when you've been...
Oh, when I get bad feedback,
or just in
any
general,
feedback?
yeah. Like, how do you deal with that?
I genuinely don't care, and I actually, you know, I've got in my, well, I wouldn't say in the diary, because whenever I have time, I reply to every comment on my cooking channel. But when I see one that's bad, I feel bad for the person, because I'm like, you could do something else. I mean, come on, you're leaving a bad comment. I mean, if it's not constructive criticism. I like to believe that I take constructive criticism well.
Yeah.
But when I see someone just like, fuck you, or something, I don't know, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna respond to you now.
Yeah.
And I actually, even the comments that get held, I release them all, and I leave it. Unless it's something which I think only once or twice, which was like, oh, man, this is just so mean, you know, I just can't leave it. Not for me, because I don't care.
Yeah.
But I think for the rest of the people, it's just not fair seeing that those words there.
Yeah,
There's just too many and too weird.
Yeah.
But other than that, I genuinely don't care. You know, you just got to form that thick skin and be like, well, you know what? This is my mission. This is what I want to do. If you don't want to be part of it, it's a free account.
You don't have to watch.
Exactly.
It's like, you don't have to follow me.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny, because like when I was home, I think last year, my mother-in-law, she was like, don't you see it, TV? You know what? You see what they're showing us? I'm like, the remote is there. I'm like, what?
Yeah, you can't turn it on.
Yeah. So I think people, they just get too worried about what people might say, and what, you know, and and especially what an issue that I found is being perfect. You know, being perfect in front of the camera, having everything aligned, it just doesn't work that way.
No.
You know? And even with, you know, we invested quite a bit in gear, because we want everything to look professional and all that. But I think equally, if you do stuff with your phone, and if you know what you're talking about, you're gonna do as well or better.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not the barrier of entry is so low. You got no excuses.
Yeah, well, and it's hard to tell really what makes content valuable. Like, some of the people I follow, like take for example, people who are doing like funny stuff on Instagram. Like, they're just filming themselves on their phone. It's such poor quality content, but like, it's hilarious and it's great. And then to the other end of the spectrum, like, I watched the Modern Wisdom podcast with Chris Williamson, for example, which is quite
the other extreme.
Yeah, which is quite high production value. But it's like, I'm not that bothered that it's not filmed really well.
Yeah, people do get bothered about audio sometimes, but other than that,
yeah, it's like, just go for it and do it. But to your point about stuff always being perfect from like a content point of view, I think people forget that, like, especially when it's like yourself. So say you've done a cooking thing and you're like, oh, I love this macaroni and cheese or whatever, and this is how I make it and I love it, and you shouldn't be doing it this way, you should be doing it that way. People make the assumption that that is like a die on your sword belief that you've had that you can't change your mind on because you've published it. And I'm like, no, you're allowed to change your mind. Like, the amount of stuff that, if I was to look at my LinkedIn feed from like 3 years ago, I'm sure there's stuff on there that I'd be like, Jesus, I don't believe in that now. I don't think that's correct now. But people kind of get so scared about posting something because they're going to be perceived as this way or whatever. And it's like, so what? You can change your mind. If you say something and then someone in the comment section is disagreeing with you, that doesn't instantly mean that they're like trying to belittle you. It might mean that they've got a different opinion that's worth listening to. And then, like, your opinions are there to be challenged. That's the whole point, right? So you are allowed to change your mind. That's fine. But
oh, mate, if you go in some of my videos, some of my steak videos that are quite popular, and if you check the comments and you see, you know, I mentioned, I think, so I'm using, I don't know, 2 tablespoons of rapeseed oil. That was it. That was the end.
Can't use seed oil.
Honestly, you can't use seed oil. This is cancer. This is, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Just use fat. Use something else.
Yeah.
Exactly the same cooking method, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. But it's crazy how, like, online, everyone's opinions seem to be so at the extremities of things. Like, so I did, but it's, unfortunately, that's the currency of engagement online. So a while back, I did a post about Ryanair on LinkedIn. I don't know if you saw it. The guy who was balding, and it was like he flew to Turkey, or he was something to do with him balding, and he called out Ryanair saying, I booked a window seat, but I didn't get a window. And they commented back saying, Turkey flight, ? And I was like, I saw the funny side, and I was like, if I'd have said, I could have said that to my mate and it would have been funny, right?
Yeah.
A brand saying it to one of their customers, I was like, that's slightly less funny. And then I kind of looked at it through the lens of like, if that was a I don't know, a large woman, for example, and the brand had said something, I was like, that would have, you know, gone proper, for lack of a better phrase, tits up for that brand. And so I called them out and said, I don't think it's okay to kind of call out your customer, how your customers look, especially with like balding men, for example. I was like, I get how it could be funny. I'm not like a quote unquote snowflake. Like I've got bald mates that I would definitely poke fun at, but they're my mates. That's kind of how it works. Called that out, and the comment section on LinkedIn, like it went fully viral. I think I ended up with like 500 comments or something, like over 1 million impressions.
I remember seeing it, yeah.
And the amount of people that were like, "Oh, get a grip, mate," and like, "This is like what's wrong with the world," and all of this through this post, and I was just like,
and you didn't even have like a very strong opinion about it.
No,
You just saw that,
kind of
you
like,
know what? You could probably change the angle. It'll probably benefit you. You're in a weird situation with what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I was probably at the other end in that I was quite extreme with, I said, this is not okay. I think that was the headline, like the, you know, like you do with LinkedIn, it's like read more. And then I went on to explain, like I said there, about how if it was your friends, it'd be fine, blah, blah, blah. But I don't know what I tapped into. It was like some Andrew Tate incel group that were then just like the comments underneath being like, grow up. I think one of them even said like, you're a bender or something, and then it got removed or something. I was like, this is crazy.
For LinkedIn.
Yeah, for LinkedIn. I was like, fair enough, maybe on Reddit or something.
Yeah.
But I think that is the problem now with, you kind of have to talk in extremities online to gain traction. And it's kind of doing stuff to our psyche and making people think it's okay to kind of say, you know, horrendous things that we'd never say in real life and hide behind a keyboard or a screen and do it and think it's okay.
Yeah, crazy stuff. But going back to marketing and talking about, like, we all have a perception of what marketing is. I feel, you know, like years back, it was all about like, make sure you get, you know, make sure the fonts are exactly like that. You know, I'm like, okay, it's important. Yeah, noted. But I think there's more, there's a lot more to it.
I mean, at its most simplest, I think it's communication, right? And it's understanding people and putting stuff in front of the right people at the right time with the right message. That's fundamentally like...
And what's outside of that is almost like...
you can get very lost in all of that, but it's like... It's
building trust in the end, right?
It's it's fully building trust, but ultimately it's also just like, it's selling stuff, right? But it depends what you're selling. Like you can be selling ideas. It hasn't got to be like a commercial entity that's trying to...
It doesn't need to be tangible.
Yeah, like it's the art of persuasion. What it isn't is just a group of tactics. Do you know what I mean? That like, and I think in this day and age, because we've got so used to everyone, you know, buying courses online on that are marketing related, we use this kind of like shock and awe stuff to talk about like 5x your ROI by these simple 5 things. And I'm like, the longer I work in marketing, the more I'm like, that's selling marketing. Yeah. That's not actually what...
There's nothing short to it.
Nothing there makes it good marketing. Do you know what I mean? It's just like a group of things you can do and you can pay someone else to do because they've managed to package it up and then sell it to you. But yeah, I don't know if that really answers the question, but I think it's just persuasion, and it's talking to people in a way that they understand and about things that they care about. So it's no different. It's years and years ago in the tribes, the marketeers would be the person that would leave the tribe, go to the other one and convince that tribe that we're all right over here. Do you want to swap some stuff? Do you know what I mean? So that's where it comes from in my view. So that's how it starts.
It's as old as the...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's
no, but you're right. Yeah, the very basic is like we have these. I had this conversation with my wife a while back. I mean, it's not breaking news, you know, for most people, but you know, talking about selling stuff, and I'm like, we're all into sales, you know, in a way or another. I'm trying to convince you to, I don't know, cook something, trying to do, you know, the laundry and all that. And in a way, this is selling. And it's the same kind of with marketing, you know, it applies in so many other areas because we kind of limited to social media, but it's actually so much more than it.
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think a lot of people think that marketing is like 1 + 1 = 2. And that's, again, something that I don't think marketing is. Like some of it can be. So like, I don't know, you're on the internet, you're on a website, you see buy one, get one free on protein powder on the left-hand side of your screen on a display ad, you click it, you go and buy it, marketing done, right? That's one form, very simple marketing. But a lot of marketing, especially in sort of like B2B scenarios or brand building exercises, is all about, like you were saying, building trust long term, and just maintaining visibility so that you are front of mind when people are ready to buy. And I feel like I keep saying that all the time because clients expect, oh, we've just spent, I don't know, $1,000 this month on PPC
I bet you get it a
on
lot.
Google. And you're like, well, yeah, that's a quantifiable thing, as in you can see the traffic through, you can see how many people have added stuff to cart, you can see how many people have then abandoned cart, for example. So again, that's like a simple quantifiable way of marketing. But a lot of the effectiveness of marketing can't be quantified because it's like, how are you measuring how you're making someone feel? Like you can't put data on that as easy as you can running an ad, clicked an ad, bought something. And especially like I was saying there in B2B, it's like you just need to be in front of people and building trust. But how are you tracking the trust that you've built with someone over time?
Yeah,
you know,
and
difficult.
you're totally right with buying when you're ready, because okay, they see you as a I don't know, as a leader, as a market leader in whatever you're trying to sell. But if you don't need it right now, like you can do the ads, the best ads ever, you know, it's just not the right time.
Yeah.
But just because you spend a lot of money now and you're going to get a reward later, it doesn't mean that the marketing didn't actually work.
Yeah, for sure. And it's so tricky because a lot of the time people spending money on marketing have to justify it to a board that are making decisions solely off a spreadsheet. And it's like, you're not making decisions that are based on your audience, really. You're making decisions based on how your audience is represented through data. And that's not always the best way to like make a decision, right? Like just because you can track something or measure something or whatever, not all good ideas can be tracked and measured. Like, but when people are like trying to, you know, sign off a marketing budget with a board, they're like, right, but we need to see ROI instantly. And you're like, well, that's not how it's going to work all the time.
It looks like you're not the right client for us.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's like, it really is a hard thing to do.
Especially when you have like these, because I'm sure you probably get like these quarterly meetings and so on, and you know, they just look over the graphs and in a way, you know, they're not in that world, and I get it, but at the same time, as you say, it's very hard to measure, you know, the way people feel about you and the way what you packaging, what you're trying to sell, and you know, they're only going to be ready probably in a year time.
Yeah.
And then how can you prove that marketing is still happening and is a good marketing when they're not going to see the results now?
Yeah, and it's very hard to like attribute stuff like in the future. Do you know what I mean? I don't think no board has sort of turned around and said, like, after, so say you run a campaign, 2 years later you get a bunch of new business. Very hard to attribute that to a specific campaign.
Yes.
And the marketing team will never get the kudos.
Absolutely.
It will always be like, oh, it's the new sales manager. Do you know what I mean? It was never the audience that the marketing team built 2 years ago that has been nurtured through email sequences for the last 2 years and then happened to convert because they've now decided to leave their previous service provider. You know, it's very hard to then go, that was marketing. So, yeah.
Yeah, so we talk about like what people get wrong in terms of marketing and where are they failing in a way. But do you see a pattern like with businesses that you work or in general that you think, you know, I see this across the board, you know, this is what they're getting wrong right from the first 10 minutes of conversation you have with them?
Abandoning a strategy too early is definitely like one thing that I see so many, not even necessarily clients, but you see it happening across
it's
the board.
obvious online as well, because you see like they're going with one theme and it's just like out of a sudden was like, what's going on? You know, it just changed to something else.
Yeah, that's definitely a key thing. Like a lot of the time, so the clients that we work with or in general, when you're doing like a marketing strategy, it's normally like at least, well, I approach it when I'm doing strategies for clients, it's a year-long thing. So if by month 2, they're like, oh, we haven't had the results that we thought we were going to get. We're now not going to do email. We want to do TikTok instead or something. You're like,
whatever's the next hot thing.
Yeah, you're like, that is just, it's the unstrategic thinking that kills people's marketing function, basically. So that's sort of one bit. So abandoning a strategy too early is one way to just kill a marketing strategy. It's like you need to see what is going to work. And a lot of the time, the reason we've put a strategy together like that for you to execute it over a long period of time is to tell us what won't work. So it's not to just show us what is going to work, it's to show us what won't work moving forward, because it's ongoing optimizations that make marketing successful. rarely is it you do something, it works.
Yeah, because I think something that I think people expect from agencies to have like the answers right away, but you almost like have to have the analytics behind it to know which path to take. So for that, you probably need to spend a bit of money, put some ads behind, do some organic content, and then only after that you realize, well, for you, this is what works. So let's carry on with that.
Exactly. And
Clearly it doesn't work.
Yeah, you just have to
and then you just
keep refining and keep doing it. You know, it's like we've given you, as an agency, you're paying us to give you the authority to execute a bunch of stuff that we've said is viable for your business, right? That's essentially what you're paying us for, is to sign off an idea and to make it our fault when it doesn't work, not the business's. Basically, that's what's working, or that's what's happening. But another thing that happens as well, which is why a lot of marketing for people fail, is they just don't do what you've actually said that they should be doing. So like they'll spend a bunch of money on a marketing strategy, and you'll put together a really comprehensive document with a bunch of sort of overview strategies and then sort of core channel strategies. And you'll get to like month 6 and you'll look down the list and you'll be like, okay, so stuff that we've handled, for example, email marketing, we said we're going to do 4 emails a month, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we've done that. We said we're going to do this. We've done that. And then you look at the other stuff. So like a big one at the moment is like leaders having personal brands on LinkedIn. Personal, like as you know, people's personal LinkedIn accounts get far more reach than business accounts. Yeah. And in the strategy, you'll detail exactly what you need the team leaders to do. It's like, we need you to be doing at least a post a week just to kind of grow visibility and get traffic through to the site. And we'll set up unique tracking.
Cross-pollinate the page with your accounts.
Exactly. And you get to like month 6 and you're like, when you signed off this strategy and you said that all of your team, your senior leadership team, were really happy to contribute on LinkedIn and, consistently post once every week. How are they getting on with that? And they're like,
too busy to
yeah, they're too busy. They've done 2 posts. It's like, so you're telling me that you're too busy to make your business money? Is that what you're saying? Because it's like those key things within the strategy. We haven't just put them in there because it was like a nice to have. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It was like a key thing for you to do. And again, it's like part of that always being visible when people are ready to buy stuff. Like you messaged me on LinkedIn. Our relationship is based upon our LinkedIn activity. And here we are. Do you see what I mean? But so many people will do it for like a couple of weeks, not gain any traction, and then sack it off. Yeah. And you're like, well, the reason we put it in the strategy was so in a year's time, for example, you might have had, 1 or 2 inquiries or whatever. But yeah.
I think one of the problems I see, not that I experienced myself, but let's say you bring all the leads in, you bring people willing to buy or interested, to buy, and then it depends how they handle it from there on as well, because it almost feels like marketing and sales. It feels like different grounds. It's almost like the chefs and the waiters.
Yeah. Well, you can have really bloody good chefs in the kitchen, right? And you can take the food to the pass, and it all looks amazing. Do you know what I mean? And it's sitting there, and then the sales team, aka the waiters, if they don't show up and take it to the table, then you're fucked.
Yeah,
and marketing really is about getting the right people into your sales funnel. But if you haven't got like an active sales manager that's good at closing and getting, the person from, if someone's filled out a form and they've showed their interest and we've captured a bunch of data on all of their preferences, and we know that by the time they're in our CRM system or willing to talk to a salesperson, that they should be pretty good to go. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to close, but it isn't marketing's job really to make that person close, especially if it's like, it's a bit different in like a B2C environment where it's like click button, buy now, it's in basket, go. I'll accept that's marketing's problem. But when it's like a service or like something that's ongoing or like a luxury purchase that requires a salesperson in there, it's like, if we've done all this marketing up here and you've spent, I don't know, 100 grand on marketing and then you don't have a sales manager, you're like, what are you doing? Why? How did you expect this to work? But it does happen. It definitely happens. Yeah.
But I guess, there are companies that, smaller companies that can't afford an agency like you. Is there any advice? How can they get the ball rolling, make this marketing happen? And maybe at some point, work with someone like you, that can offload all this work, and they can take care of business.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends what you're trying to do. Like a large portion of what a lot of people need to do from a marketing perspective is build an audience.
Yeah. It's a very broad question because it's B2B, it'll be different than B2C.
Yeah, but fundamentally,
services will be different.
The bigger audience you have, no matter what the business is,
yeah,
the more people you're speaking to, the more likely it is that some of them are going to buy your shit. So that doesn't have to be done by an agency. Like, obviously, a bigger company with some marketing budget and they want to outsource marketing, they don't want to worry about it. Great, chat to an agency. But a lot of people will see a lot of success through audience building themselves using the channels that they understand. So it's not hard to make user-generated style content on your mobile phone and film yourself talking about products and finding an interesting way of doing that. And just keep doing it. Just hammer stuff out, hold yourself accountable, and keep doing it. And I'm going to steal a quote from Charlie Glenn. Why is that so difficult to say? One of my colleagues. But messy action is better than no action. And a lot of people will literally not do any marketing because they're scared that it's going to look shit or it's going to be bad. There's a bunch of people doing shit and bad content that are still making money from it because they're actually visible and people know they're there. So take some action and you'll get better as you go. And then you'll realize, again, you'll be in a far better position when you want to work with an agency about what you can do versus what the agency can do, because you'll probably learn at least one or two marketing skills. It's so multifaceted. Like, you might not be very good at, like, I don't know, building out automated processes or whatever, but you might be great at filming yourself talking on camera. So find an agency when you do eventually get some money to do the bit you don't like doing and carry on doing the content piece. But I think, social media, build an audience. I'd start there. If you don't have much budget for marketing and you don't know where to start, then I think start building an audience. Start giving people a reason to listen to you, and find out what your audience value. Talk about that. Give away stuff for free until you start building out a following. That's then your own or your owned audience, and then start putting stuff in front of that audience that they can buy. Simple as that.
I'm wondering if you have this challenge, especially being in Jersey, small community, and you have businesses saying, well, I'm doing word of mouth. I don't really care about posting.
Everyone in Jersey loves a bit of word of mouth.
But then at the same time, my argument is, I don't know how you approach this, but I'm like, okay, if we're all doing, what separates us? Let's say we are, I don't know, let's say in Jersey are like 20 podcast services. What separates us? Okay, we're all gonna do word of mouth, but then what's the edge you adding to your business? To be the first. Someone's got to be first.
Well, yeah, and no one ever asks themselves, like, what words and whose mouth? Do you know what I mean? It's literally, it's like, Jersey is word of mouth, but it works both ways, right? So it's like, you don't know what people are saying about you and you don't know who's saying it. So, like, yes, people are talking about you, but what are they saying about you and who is it that's talking about you? And a bunch of marketing in an environment where it is word of mouth is getting the right mouths and the right words, right, being said about you rather than just people talking about you. Because there's a lot of pre-made perceptions of businesses and stuff in Jersey that have once built very hard to break. That's why we lean like heavily into brand strategy first to work out who you are. So then when we do marketing, we're making sure that the words that are coming out of other people's mouths about you are the right thing, right? Because branding is like what people are saying when you're not in the room. So you have to get that bit right first. But yeah, in Jersey, the whole word of mouth is word of mouth. It's word of mouth. But it's true. It does work. Like, word of mouth in Jersey is a thing, but you still have to worry about like directing that attention to something. So if people are talking about you and then they go online, you're like,
directing in a positive place.
Yeah, and like having something that like your foundation's there so people can find you like digitally, I guess, or you know. So if you're down the pub, someone's talking about a brand or a business or whatever, or a new restaurant, blah blah blah, you then need to go online and find that again, right? So word of mouth is good, but maintaining visibility is the key to like converting that word of mouth into something tangible or value for you.
Yeah, also one of my arguments is like going outside of Jersey. I'm like, we all know Coca-Cola, we all know all these big brands. Yeah. They could stop today. You still know what Coca-Cola is for probably for years to come. Yeah. Even the new generations, because you'll find them everywhere in shops, but they still invest heavily in marketing. So there is something there that's worth pursuing, Not like I'm saying, but people, companies that made it and they're there for years and years.
Yeah, well, and a bad time to sort of start marketing is when you've run out of customers.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Use it as an emergency service.
It's not a good litmus test of being like, oh shit, we've run out of customers. We now need to start marketing.
Man. But I bet you get that a lot.
Yeah, we've definitely had scenarios where people, and we've been guilty of it in the past in the company we've had, where it's like, oh, we're sold out for, Q3 of this year. We've sold all the beds we've got in the hostel because we had really strong years before COVID obviously happened. And it was like, okay, well, let's switch the marketing from being about closing people to about getting people into our newsletter list so we can email them, when we've got availability. We don't turn off marketing because we're doing well and then wait for it to do bad to then start talking to people again. That's just not a good idea. But you do see a lot of people being like, oh, our books are full. And you're like, fine, I get that. You can reduce your like ad spend, for example, on some.
Yeah. But what's wrong with increasing your prices if you have too much demand?
Well, exactly. increase your prices or increase your capacity to capture that audience and do something else with it and nurture them until, rainy day sort of stockpiling, right? It's your wood for the winter at that point, which is what you need to do.
Do you still believe in newsletters? I think they're still a bit overlooked, but yeah, it all depends how you approach it. I don't know in Jersey how.
It depends what you mean by email or by newsletter, really.
Well, let's put email marketing. Yeah, it's probably
email marketing. Like, if you were to rate it out of 10 in terms of like effective channel, again, depending on your industry, I still think it's a very viable channel for a lot of people.
Cheap as well. You control the
super
audience.
Cheap, super easy to kind of DIY yourself. Super valuable in the sense that say you're this person earlier who's smashed social media. They've had no budget and they've done really well on social media. They've built out 10,000 followers on their account. Next day, Meta's hacked. Elon's decided to, I don't know, shoot Zuckerberg and Facebook's gone to shit. If you've managed to convince all of those people to sign up to your email newsletter, you can still reach that audience, right?
And move to another social media almost like seamlessly.
Exactly.
Follow you.
So I think email marketing is great for that because it's like your owned audience. Like if you've got their email address, you can contact them for not a lot of money. In most instances, you can do it sort of for free, and it's a really good tool to get really targeted as well. So you can, if you email marketing done well, feels like you've had an email from your mate that makes you want to buy something that they've got. It's hard to get to that point, but you have to start somewhere. But even like I said, even if you've got 10,000 followers and you can capture a load of preferences on what that type of person is like, and you can put bespoke emails in front of them, basic stuff like if they've bought something off your website or they've spent a certain amount, or they haven't bought from you in a while, and just the capacity to ping an automated email in front of them being like, we haven't heard from you for a while, here's 5% off, come back to our site. I think people underestimate how effective that can be because they get a lot of emails like that and they're like, well, I never click on that.
Because it can be also done wrong.
Yeah.
Like anything, right?
Yeah.
It can be done wrong when you always bombarded like buy, I'm selling these,
Yeah.
But then if you temper it a bit and you get some value in there and you don't ask for sale like every single email or it's very settled is at the end of the conversation, I think people will probably stick around for longer as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you're putting something in front of someone that they might want, why would you not want that?
Yeah, exactly. I say it all the time with ads. People are like, they're listening to us. I'm like, I don't give a shit. As long as they recommend me what I want to see and what I want to buy.
Yeah, then great. I completely agree. I find myself quite often saying to people, that's like, well, would you rather see ads of shit you don't see, or you don't want to buy? Can you remember what it was like watching TV when we were growing up, and you'd like have to watch 10 shit adverts of things that you were never going to buy? Like, imagine if the internet was like that now, and you're there scrolling on a website and all of a sudden you're getting, I don't know, ads for God knows what, or you're on YouTube and you started seeing ads that weren't tailored to you. You'd be like,
I get a lot of Tai Chi now. I don't know if you really? a lot of Tai Chi.
You bought
and they
some,
say, well, I genuinely, I'm trying to figure out, because he's also something that intrigues me. I'm like, why on earth, I keep getting, and he's AI, they are AI made, it's this guy, half naked, right? And he was like, Tai Chi gym breaks your joints, Tai Chi makes you I don't know what,
right?
And I was like, oh, this is gonna change, first day you're gonna see these change, second day, and they're so bad made, but at the same time I'm like, why do I get targeted with these shit? Because I don't.
Yeah, it's interesting how
and it just says people over 50. I know I look older, but like, come on, I'm not 50 yet.
Yeah, no, it is funny how you end up in certain like pockets of ads for a while, don't you? And you're like,
They don't
why
let you go.
No, and you're like, why are they really think I want this? I'm like, I don't want this. Get it away from me.
Yeah, I do get yours every now and then, the Snap ad. And I'm like, okay, I'll take this. You know, it's kind of, I do a bit of marketing. I'm in that space, you know, happy days. You know, I kind of enjoy that. But at the same, when I see stuff that has nothing to do or...
It's all about the relevance. I think people get confused when you talk about personalization in marketing, or particularly email. Like, on the surface, it's like people think that's an email that just says hi and then your first name. That's not what people mean by personalization. They mean like bespoke offers, tailored messaging, the timing something goes out, when it's greeting you, you know, that's what real personalization is. You're within a segment, or you're putting the right message in front of the right person at the right time that feels like almost scarily bespoke to you at that time. That's what kind of the future of marketing will be. It'll get even more personalized.
In terms of newsletter, I actually started fairly recently. I've got 5 subscribers.
Oh, there you go.
I started,
better than no subscribers.
Pardon. I started with my cooking channel because I'm like, this is stupid. I should do this, and I should have done it for right from the beginning. But I also done it because I want to learn a bit email marketing. It's something that I've not had exposure to, and I want to make it that you know, okay, I'm gonna probably try to sell some merch there. I'm gonna probably to have some affiliate links in there, but that's not the it's not gonna be the way we start, you know, the email, or it's not going to be the front of the actual newsletter. So I'm trying, you know, give the recipes in writing, you know, make here be more like tips about cooking outside of the recipe.
Yeah.
Fun facts, you know, about the recipes, like certain ingredients, you know, the cheese was invented, I don't know when, you know, stuff like that. And I try to see like how people react to it. Okay, it's early because with 5, you don't really get much data. But it also, what I like is that when they subscribe, you can see like where the region where they subscribe from. Okay, I don't know if it's that accurate, probably is. And I can see even in the US, someone in New York following.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
Yeah. So I like that part. And to be fair, it only cost me like £5 a month.
So is the next phase for you then monetizing the audience that you've got on your YouTube and stuff
See,
like
I'm
that?
doing a very bad job at that. I feel like I could do a lot more. I've done a few product reviews and I saw, it's crazy. I saw like 30 blenders or something through Amazon.
Really? That's better than nothing.
Yeah, and the same with air fryers, probably around the same.
Really? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But it's got to be, I don't know. I actually think I could do some of the videos, they got like hundreds of thousands of views. So
well, you've got like 20,000 followers, right?
No, like 19 something, I think. Something around 19.
But even still, so like I recently had a conversation with my mate who's also a chef. He works at Trinity in London, which is like a Michelin star, but it's a lovely restaurant. I'm going there at the end of the month actually for my dad's 60th. Can't wait. But I was having a conversation with him because he's like at a similar point where he's obviously always been on the tools, been a chef, never really worried about content, and then recently he went on Great British Menu on the TV, and then got a bunch of followers. He's now at like, I don't know, 10k followers.
Oh yeah, that explodes you
on Instagram or whatever. And I was like, dude, you should really think about monetizing your audience. And like you're saying there, start with a newsletter, start giving stuff away from free to start building your audience. But then I said to him, I was like, imagine if you had a landing page where you publish a recipe or a menu every week, and then every now and then you do this is my special, I don't know, Valentine's is coming up, so this is my Valentine's Day menu. To download it, it's a quid, it's £3 or whatever. Or
you create it once and you don't have to worry about it.
You create it once, it takes barely any time at all, but you are actually providing value. And imagine you get, I don't know, 200 downloads of it. You're like, great, that's a good little bit of pocket money.
Or you could do a video, like a private video that can only get access to it if
or a talk along or whatever. But like minimum bar of entry, you could set up a subscription model where every month you get 5 recipes that relate to one of the videos that you later publish, right? And you make it $5.99 a month. Out of your 20,000 or 19,000 followers, you get 100 of those. Like that's
honestly,
that's great.
I think I know I'm doing a bad job in that area, but something definitely to be done in terms of like monetizing, because what I've done so far was affiliate links. So there are quite a few things that doesn't make me feel like I'm selling or I'm exploiting an audience almost. That are very subtle, like affiliate links, merch, some really bad merch, to be fair. I need to look into that. It's something I've done a while back.
Right.
And it's still there. Sold a few things, crazy enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know, aprons, all sorts of like crazy stuff for the kitchen.
Yeah, why not? But
T-shirts
people
and
love
all
that shit.
Yeah,
They really do. Like,
So
like, it's mad how much money
I got a bit
people
of
can
that. I got quite a few offers in terms of like sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess some really weird ones. Like I got someone the other day offering me an electric carving knife. And I'm like, I never see myself using something like this. Why would
it depends how serious you... I always wonder with that sort of stuff, because like, how serious have you got to be about the product that you get? I think the winners who are doing what you're doing are the ones that like have managed to sit in that niche where it's like humorous and almost take the piss.
Yeah, I think I could do it that way. Yeah,
yeah, and then you get sent products and you're like, fuck it, let's see how this, do you know what I mean? Let's see how this goes. And like, because of the entertainment value of it, you're probably going to get good engagement. You're subtly like plugging the product, and you'd probably get a few people being like, do you know what? I want to have a go with that electric like carving knife as well. Like I've always wanted to have a go with an electric carving knife, to be fair.
How cool this is.
Yeah, and at the end of the day,
you can electrocute yourself at the same time.
And the worst case scenario is you get a free carving knife and you might make a few quid, and all you have to do is like do a little funny video. I'd be
yeah. I got a few others as well, like pans and pots and all that. And I'm like, this is in my I got like stuff outside to completely like body creams, boil. I'm like, I'm a cooking channel. Why?
I think it's just people trying their luck. I think with the outreach, they're like,
or perfumes, or someone like chasing me like so many times. It's like, I'm sending it for free, and we even pay. I'm like, yeah, but how am I supposed to introduce this in a cooking video? I'm like, if you want to cook better, make sure that before you start doing it.
Or you just make something out of truffle and go, if your wife hates the smell of truffle, use this perfume before she gets home. Job done. Here's 5% off if you use this code. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those where I think you do have to worry. Like if that becomes your thing, like anyone, it's like what happened with Prime and stuff like that, the drink and things.
Yes.
Like you do have to be careful with the products you're associating with yourself, because the downfall can be like quite bad.
In terms of video, we keep hearing these short attention span. But do you think, I certainly believe that that's also an excuse for most people when they post something. They do a bad video and like, they have short attention span. Mine was like 3 minutes. They couldn't stay watching. That's why it's not performing well.
Yeah.
Do you think that's an excuse as well? I mean, okay, we do have a short attention span. That's facts.
Yeah.
But also there are shows, 2-3 hours that people are still watching because they're interested.
I mean, I think I'd like
if
to...
you made it till now.
Yeah, you've done great.
Yeah, you've done great.
Congratulations. Yeah. I hear you. I think that is something that's spoken about a lot, as everyone's saying, we've got really short attention spans, etc., which is definitely true. But that kind of, it all comes down to sort of interest, doesn't it? Because I do also think, whilst we've got shorter and shorter attention spans, like our capacity to pay attention to the same thing for ages and get really into it has kind of grown, I think. So like at the same time of us viewing bite-sized content all day, every day, we're then watching, like, take Stranger Things. How many years has that been on? And how much content is that? And we've followed...
my wife is crazy about it.
Yeah,
I refuse.
It's so good. It's honestly so good. But, like, that's like even the last season, that was like 4 movies back to back that you could watch. And, like, me and my wife watched that in one day. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, whilst in some instances you're on your phone just scrolling past 30-second clips, and you're like, this is shit, or whatever you're paying attention to, you're like, haha, on to the next one. But that same person can sit and then binge watch a whole Netflix series. So there's something going on, and I don't think it's right to say that, or blaming people because of their short attention span. I think like if they're not engaging with your content, then there's a high chance that your content is shit,
or they're not the right people.
Or they're not the right people. Yeah. So it's shit or irrelevant to them, shall we say, rather than shit. Because a bunch of people will happily engage with like some really, really long form content. It's like the same with the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah.
I can stick
I was going to say, how do you feel about we're creating like, or AI now into the mix as well. We're getting that in here as well. We're creating like a lot more content than we ever did.
Yeah.
Breaking records every day. And then we have short, we have long. Where is your bet on?
I mean, I think there's just going to be an amalgamation of both. I don't think it's going to be one or the other. And I know it'd be really like more effective right now for like a short form clip for me to be like, short form video is the way forward or the future of marketing, which I don't think it is. It's like everything, right? There's like stuff's applicable for certain situations. Like if you're cooking dinner of an evening and you can put a vinyl on and that medium works because you can, do a bit of cooking, 20 minutes later, go flip the vinyl over. Great. If you're there at home and you're just eating and you need just something quick fire, you can just put your headphones in and listen to a song on Apple Music or something and skip through it. So I think there's room for every type of media, I think, and every kind of length and format. And we're very fortunate in our day and age that there's like an overwhelming amount of content that we can sift through and
we have options now.
Yeah, we have so many options. Yeah, like, but
you don't want it video, you can listen audio. You don't want it long, you can get it short.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like we're spoiled for choice, really. But the key is like we're living in now an age of like discernibility, like working out what is actually of value to you from like a media perspective, or finding the right information. The access to information piece is long gone. Like that's easy. It's there. We all have access to the right stuff, but it's like finding the resourceful source or the right type of source that is actually useful and applicable to you. So yeah, it's going to be interesting over the next few years, but we're only going to get more mediated. Like when we get, smart glasses and we're getting ads on those, and then, we start wearing wearables and you get ads on your watch, and then now you're watching Amazon Prime on TV, and then you get like an interactive ad on there where you have to take a quiz, or you're watching YouTube. There'll be ads everywhere and there'll be everything everywhere. So it's like we're spoiled for choice. It's going to get a little bit scary, I think, when we've all got the glasses on and we can all see ads all the time. But if that's coupled with stuff getting more relevant and more personalized, then it could be.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it could be a good thing. Yeah, it could be.
I know. Yeah, many people say, "Oh, this is." Because I see it also from the side of if you're not a creator, I guess you can also have a bad perception of social media because you feel like, endless scrolling. You don't kind of produce anything. It just feels like it sucks the energy out of you. But if you actually give something back through social media, it doesn't feel like that big of a demon.
No, and I'm fully like it. Social media is what you bring to the party, right? Like you don't have to be on it, and I don't like how, I guess, to get philosophical or political or whatever you want to call it, but I don't like how in this day and age we've kind of all chosen to be sort of victims to social media when it is as easy to turn off your phone as it is to turn it on. Yeah. And it's like you can curate your, and I've done this more as I've gotten older, but I've started curating all of my feeds and all of my platforms to be more applicable. So I'm not just
unsubscribe to things that you don't
it's like, and if anyone is worried about like the effect that social media is having on their life, it's like get a Saturday when you've got nothing else to do. Go on LinkedIn, unfollow all the shit people. Go on Instagram, unfollow everything. Spend half an hour on it. Unfollow anything that makes you feel like shit or that doesn't bring value to you or that isn't teaching you anything. Probably delete Facebook. I don't know if anyone's using that as much anymore, but that seems to be like a cesspit online where everyone just moans at everyone anyway.
It's about the groups and all that.
Yeah, so like, but just curate your media environment more to be positive and to be a benefit to your life, rather than like blaming the platform for the things that you've chosen to follow over time and that has now led to you to be unhappy. It's like, no, go and unfollow it then, you know? So
job done.
Easy peasy. Yeah.
And at the same time, like what people don't realize is the platforms are there, well, first of all, they're there to make money, but at the same time, they want to recommend you stuff. Well, at least that's the intent. Recommend you stuff that sells. So keep you happy, keep the person that advertise happy. So, you're going down the rabbit hole, watching crazy stuff. Well, it'll keep recommending crazy stuff. So you stay more on the page. They'll get some ads in between. Everybody's happy. You're going crazy. They're making their money and so on. But you are under control.
You're in control, yeah. And it's like, I completely appreciate that. Like we're in this era now where everything's hyper palatable. Right. So the food we eat is manufactured to be as tasty as it can possibly be. So we keep on eating it. The content that we look at is like hyper palatable. It's been refined and refined and refined until it's the hardest thing to turn off on your thing. But it's like you are still in control. It's just harder. And I appreciate that it is harder for people to like, maybe not eat that certain thing and maybe not consume that type of content. But it compounds the other way when you try hard. So if you stop eating a certain thing, after 3 weeks of not eating anything that's hyperpalatable, you start enjoying stuff that isn't hyperpalatable. It's the same with you know, slowly breaking yourself away from Instagram and maybe reading a few pages of a book each night rather than sitting there and scrolling. Before you know it, you'll have read 5 books and you won't have eaten at McDonald's in 6 months.
It's about training your brain as well. Training yourself to be
exactly. Yeah.
Introducing new habits and all that.
Yeah, and it can be done. And don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming to be like some perfect guy. I've definitely eaten McDonald's and I definitely scroll on shit videos. And
you know what I try doing actually, because there is apparently scientifically proven that if you turn your phone into black and white, you know, you spend less on social media.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah. So if you turn it black and white, which you can quite easily, I put it into like a shortcut, quick, boom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this looks so sad.
Yeah, it gets a bit depressing.
And it definitely puts you off. You just kind of like check, okay, you're still checking your emails. But even when you're looking at the emails, like, this looks so weird.
Yeah. Oh, this looks like a newspaper.
Yeah. And then I tried it for a bit and I'm like, yes, it does the job because I hate looking at it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like I want to be there if stuff that I'm watching, I know it's bringing me value somehow. Not just like, I'm just gonna, okay, it's got its part, you know, funny stuff and all that, you know. It does help every now and then, but actually bringing you value, you know, in the way you develop yourself. If you find stuff like that, well, I happily spend time on it. Why not?
I think it can be really good. I think it does get a bad rap. And like, do I think the world would be better without social media? Yeah, maybe. But like we just don't talk about the positives of it enough.
Yeah, Jersey Evening Post would be loving it.
Yeah, but like for example, like so none of my family live in Jersey. So my brother works on super yachts and he's, you know, like sailing around the world and stuff. My parents are in the UK, so I don't get to speak to them much. Like, and I have a lot of mates that are in sort of London and the UK instead of being here. And our relationship now pretty much is on social media and exists, like, especially with my brother, we'll just send shit meme videos to each other all day. But I know that he's thinking about me when he's seeing those videos, which is nice.
It's a new way of like thinking about someone.
Yeah, exactly. Someone. And I'll see, so
before
like,
you send a letter.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's just a different way of that. And like with me and my dad, like because I have a lot of music content on my Instagram, I'll find, I don't know, some guy singing a country song or whatever, and I'll send it to my dad because I know he might like it. And it's like, I think that's so lovely, and you couldn't do that without social media. And everyone's out here like saying, it's all making us thick and it's ruining the world. And I'm like, well, that's quite good. Maybe just do more of that stuff. And
it can make you if you decide to go that route. But
but
you can definitely stay away from shitty
content. From the stupid. You are in control.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in terms of podcasts, because I feel like podcast came fairly recently when we're thinking about this whole craziness into this world. How do you see podcasts? I mean, you've done quite a few podcasts with work in real life.
Yes, that's a bit of a throwback.
Very enjoyable,
Yeah, no, it's good. That was itself quite difficult to maintain doing because we were sort of paying to hire a studio and it wasn't as DIY as it needed to be to kind of get it done, and it just ate time. But it was good fun. But in terms of the future of podcasts, I think they're only going to become more prevalent. Like you've seen now, I think Spotify and Netflix have teamed up for their distribution, which I think will be massive. I don't actually know what that partnership looks like. I just keep reading Netflix and Spotify.
I posted actually yesterday, I think. Spotify just bought like this huge building, you know, they turn it into video studios.
Right.
So they're gonna, it's invite only. So it's almost like Facebook, you know, you want to monetize, you can't do it if they're not inviting you into the club. You can, I guess, you could, if you are big enough, you know, to be part of the Spotify family where, you know, you get your own studio, they pay for everything, and there you go. So it's heading in a very crazy direction.
Yeah, right? I mean, I think it will end up in an environment where it's like, you know how before it was like radio, media, or radio, TV, and print. That all sort of still exists, but I think podcasting and streaming will become like equal players in terms of like as bigger pillars as kind of retrospectively radio has been, and what would you call it? The TV, whatever you're calling old school TV. But I think podcasting as a format will only increase to get bigger and bigger. And I think it will be as much video and as much audio as well. I think it's a very good format that I think a lot of people are kind of like, it fills a gap that other content doesn't. And I think as humans in this day and age, we're becoming more and more siloed and void of kind of long form conversations with mates and stuff like that. There's something within us that likes tuning into that kind of conversational content. And I don't see that going away. I think it's only going to get stronger.
AI actually only accelerated this instead of stopping it. Like some people think, we are done now, AI is going to create content. Yes, it's going to create a lot of great content in time. I'm sure, it'll be unnoticeable whether I clone me or I'm in the video, it won't matter probably much. But there is also something about human conversations. When you have like 1 hour conversation, we're having 1 hour and a half today, there is something about it that I don't think is going to go away any soon. No. I think it's just the way we are wired.
I think what might ruin it is AI. Like when we start trying to manufacture conversations through AI prompting and pre-existing content. So
that's already happening, but yeah.
So that's happening, and I worry that and I was listening to will.i.am talk about this the other day. I wish I'd have come up with it, but he was talking about how the future of AI is going to be very similar to how at the moment you have organic fruit and non-organic fruit, right? So people still buy non-organic stuff, which would be the AI content, right? But then there's always going to be the room for the organic stuff, which in my view is you're going to know it's going to be better, right?
Because talking about choices, it's just going to be more choice.
There'll be more choice for sure. But I hope that the AI stuff doesn't ruin the organic stuff. Do you know what I mean? Because I think if it can be, I'm not like saying I think AI is going to ruin the world or all of that. Like, great, if AI can make content for you and bring other voices out, like put other people's voices that wouldn't have ordinarily had a voice in front of people, then amazing, power to all of that. I just worry that it doesn't get good enough and it makes people tune out of organic, authentic stuff because they're worried that it isn't what it is. So they lose trust in organic content because they know there's so much AI slop everywhere that they're like, I'd have loved to have tuned a podcast, but I can't discern between whether it's real or not. So now I'm just like, fuck it, I'm not going to listen to it because I don't believe it. Do you see what I mean? Right now, we're kind of at that golden age where people like this because it's a conversation, it's authentic.
Easy to assimilate. You can listen anywhere or watch.
Yeah, and fundamentally, it's like it's palatable and you trust what's being said from two different humans. You might not agree with it, but it's like, these two guys are having a chat. As soon as it becomes like AI's doing it, it has to be really, really good for it to be authentic. And I worry that it's not that I worry. I think we're far off it being as good as it needs to be to seem authentic. Do you see what I mean?
No, I agree. I agree. Yeah. Yeah, AI is not going away, that's for sure. I see people being almost like on the opposite side of things, thinking that if they're not going to use it, it's not going to happen, but it's a lot bigger than...
Oh yeah, it's gonna fundamentally change our understanding of what being alive is. Like I fully think that. I'm less... We often talk about it at work, and some people are like generally shit scared of and I'm like, it's sort of like being scared that the sun's gonna come up at this point.
It's here. What are you gonna do about it?
It's fucking happening. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're now worried fully about something that you can do nothing about. But so you can either at this point choose to be scared, or you can choose to see it as a threat, or you can choose to see it as an opportunity. So that's your choice. And that's not to say that I don't think it is gonna fuck shit up. Like it definitely is. Do you know what I mean? Like it really is. But you can choose to be like, I'm scared. Yeah. It's gonna be Terminator, or you can be like, it could be utopia. And the more people we can get on the it could be utopia side, the better it's gonna be. The more doom and gloom, it's like you're manifesting the wrong version of events here. It's like start believing it could be good, and you might start using it for good, and you might start making decisions that make it better than just going, it's all gone to shit and then giving up. Do you see what I mean? Which is what I worry about with the whole AI thing. It's like we might not even be in control at the moment of how it's going, but we're in control of how we perceive it. So let's try and see it as a good thing and hope that might push it towards being a good thing. And also just start talking about the good shit that it's doing as well. Like you never hear about the good stuff. You only ever hear about the bad stuff. And I'm like, someone needs to start a really good, there probably is one, but a really good AI, good news podcast would If
True.
anyone can direct, comment below or whatever. But like,
absolutely.
that would be good. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back now to LinkedIn, because that's one of your hats as well.
Yeah.
One of your things.
Yeah.
How do you see LinkedIn going forward? And it changed a lot over the years. It's funny enough, like I don't think many people know. But well, I don't have a big presence on LinkedIn to begin with. But when I started on LinkedIn, I'm a bit mad, when in terms of testing. So what I did, I tested cooking videos on LinkedIn just to see how they work.
Just to see how it goes.
Honestly. And yeah.
Did it cook up a storm?
And I've done it, yeah. And I've done it for, I don't know, I must have done at least 30 videos or so. And I'm like, this is pointless. But yeah, anyway, to be fair, at the time, probably the content wasn't that great. Not that now it's amazing, but yeah, it was an interesting thing to test. I was the only one. People were talking about B2B, B2C. I'm like, get your chicken right.
yeah. Well, I suppose people who work also cook, don't they? So
yeah, well,
why not?
true, yeah. I mean, you can see all sorts of crazy stuff on LinkedIn. And especially like on the editing side, you think that, how to edit things in Photoshop or stuff is more of a YouTube thing or TikTok or other platforms.
Yeah.
But actually, because the algorithm recognize that you are from that area of expertise, they actually recommend me every now and then videos that I'm like, interesting.
That's interesting.
And it gets like so many views and so many reactions. There's still need, I guess, for day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, like I think it's like you can curate it to kind of be whatever you want it to be, really. Like presumably you've followed a bunch of people that are giving out, how to capture podcasts, how to how to film cooking.
Well, they got their own algorithm. That's another one.
Yeah, so it's like, but in terms of like the future of LinkedIn, it's very hard to be like, oh, this is definitely going to happen. But it seems to be getting more about the person rather than the career. Do you see what I mean? So it's less CV, it's more like fly on the wall of career, which I'm fully here for, because I, for one, love seeing like the progression of my peers or progression of people in my industry.
Is it more human, would you say?
I think it's more human, yeah. And it's becoming way more authentic as well. Like I feel like in the past, it was just full of like, I am thrilled to announce my new position at Aztec. You're like, are you fine? Do you know what I mean? No one is thrilled to announce that they've just like landed a job at I'm not hating on Aztec.
No.
It's a dull job at like a dull company. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas now it's a lot more like, well, the people I follow anyway, my feed is full of kind of like sort of interesting accolades or informative critiques of marketing campaigns, or this is how I took my business from this to this, or here's an update on how well my new wellness business is doing that I'm building in the UK. And I generally find it like it's a refreshing break from the not mind-numbing content on the other channels, but all the other channels that I use, so predominantly Instagram. I'm not much on TikTok in spare time. I'm not too much on Facebook. Facebook, I pretty much just watch funny videos if I am on there, and I know
like reels.
Yeah, like funny reels, and that's going to happen. And then Instagram is more kind of like music, finding new DJ songs, funny cat videos that I can send to my brother or my dad or whatever, like funny stuff. But LinkedIn is like genuinely quite informative for me in terms of keeping up with stuff, and it's generally quite good for me to go on there, see what people are talking about, and then actively engage in conversation. I think that's a piece people miss with LinkedIn. It's like you're active and you will like comment on people's posts and start a conversation. And I think that's good for us. I think people need to do that more. And that's why I find LinkedIn quite refreshing. And I think that's the way it's going to go, where you can interact with people you wouldn't interact with, talking about stuff that, maybe isn't like your hobbies, but it's your like work passions, which I think is good. I mean, we've seen it with how the algorithm's working now, and it's kind of rewarding comments and giving you way more reach on comments than posts and stuff like that. So that's something to pay attention to on like a tactical level. And I'm trying to make a bit more of an effort to start conversations with people and stuff like that, like under their posts. Yeah. But I feel like I've been doing that anyway. Yeah. So it's quite nice to see that as like a development that you're being rewarded for doing. But yeah, what do you think? How do you think that LinkedIn's going to go for the next few years?
Yeah, I don't know. It's turning, well, to a degree, it's turning into a Facebook.
Facebook
a light Facebook, yeah. But then, it's because I get all sorts of reports, and I love going through them, especially when you have these like social media management platforms, where they have like 2 million accounts, you know, and they get all these data anonymized, and they say, well, that many LinkedIn people, you know, that many pages, you know, get that much reach. If you're under 1,000, people get roughly that much reach. So it's quite interesting from seeing it from that perspective. And one of the things that came up was saying that, well, it's becoming, I wouldn't say overcrowded, because it's not at the level of the other platforms.
It's still definitely underutilized.
Yeah,
and that's why the life cycle.
I mean, most of the people I have in my feed, I don't know about you. I mean, obviously, we're probably following people like a lot bigger than us in terms of following, and they produce constantly. But most of the people I know, and they could be sometimes potential clients or quite high up people, they don't produce anything apart from, like, when you were saying, you know, I got a new job. That's once every few years.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. I'm thrilled.
But that's it. The word thrilled and the word passionate just need to be binned off. But yeah, interestingly, I think the life cycle, that's why the life cycle of content on LinkedIn lasts so long. And you'll go back, like, I'm still seeing Christmas content at the moment. And it's because,
you're right.
Like, there's not enough content for the amount of people using the platform. So,
and it's very obvious, you don't need to know the algorithm like 1 and 0 to understand it. You know that that's a sign of people are not producing enough.
Well, that's why I keep saying to like a lot of our clients, it's like, if you're in the B2B space, or you're selling professional services and stuff like that, your senior management team need to be on LinkedIn consistently. 100%. And you haven't got to overthink it. Like, you haven't got to really be worrying about it, but like, just choose a publication that's relevant to your sector and write an opinion piece on an opinion piece. Do you see what I mean? So they publish something, just publish your thoughts about what they've published. Like, it could be 5 bullet points, and just religiously do that every week and see how much your following grows. Like, it's an easy enough thing to do, but like, as I said before, people don't want to commit.
Well, they don't want to commit. They have fear of, like, the neighbor saying something that, oh, I've seen your video, you know, your hair wasn't, or whatever. You know, they just worry about.
What I do find interesting though at the moment as well, like, regarding that, is that, like, a lot of people are scared to post because they see it as like a professional platform. So they're like, what would my company think of what I'm posting? And I always think, well, how bad is it going to, like, what are you planning on posting? Do you know what I mean? Like, should you be working there if what you're going to say is going to get you fired? You know?
It's like, are you planning to detonate the bomb every time?
Exactly. I'm like, how? And I guess I'm fortunate in the sense that and credit to Tom and building the Snap the way he has, is that I feel that I can be very authentic at work. I don't feel like I have to put on, I'm Marcus at Snap today.
Yeah. You've got to, like, make sure every word comes up perfectly.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's not me. So I'm just executing that on LinkedIn. But it does make me worry that there are so many people in jobs that they're acting their inauthentic self. And then when it comes to posting on LinkedIn, they're like, oh, I don't want to say that because in case of this and whatever, which I guess is a bigger problem. And I don't really know how you solve that today. But I'm like, maybe it's a good, like, litmus test of should you be in the job you're in. If you're scared to post on your personal LinkedIn account,
that's a good sign that you shouldn't probably be there.
Yeah, leave the job, sack it in, leave.
And get another post saying, I'm thrilled that I started somewhere else.
Yeah, and then actually be thrilled, you know? And then that's the way to do it.
But talking about jobs, we know that marketing, especially the way you guys do it with agencies, working with lots of clients, I can only talk from a different experience that when I started with C5, I was working in the operations team. So you would work with all these, like, gazillion of clients, each one with their own way of doing things, you know, different logins, everything is crazy, everything is different. It's always on. You feel like you never switch off.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Yeah.
So work-life balance, how do you see that?
I mean, particularly with marketing, it is difficult, because you are always on, like, your head is always on. Like, I remember recently walking through the airport on the way, like on holiday.
You look at ads
with my wife, yeah. And I can't help but, like particularly in Jersey, when you're walking through the little tunnel when you're flying back, and you just think, look at how shit all these ads are, which is what I think. Or, like, you start critiquing all the ads. They're not all shit.
You see it in a way or another.
Yeah. So you can't like turn that off, and then you'll be like, oh, that's interesting. And most recently, there's an Uber ad or campaign I think it's in Gatwick, I think it's also in Heathrow, and it's like from point A to point B. And they've just found lines that exist in things. So, like, I don't know, in nature, it'll be a river. And then they'll add a nice little line of, like, from from Canoe to you or something like that. And it's like mimicking the interface that you have on the Uber app. And I'm like, that's such a clever campaign.
Yeah.
And I can't help but have my marketing head on and start analyzing
How
stuff.
can I implement that in
Yeah,
Jersey?
so like, and it's the same as well. I don't know why I keep talking about airports, but another example is like,
But it is one of those places where you see a lot of the
and
big
you start
brands
soaking
playing.
it up, and you just see everything. You start critiquing it, and then you sit on your seat and you see the little EasyJet thing in front of you, and you're like, well, that's a bit naff, or is it good, or whatever. So it's like inescapable. So yeah, work-life balance in terms of that regard of like switching your head off from a marketeer's perspective is difficult, but I don't mind that that's always on because I actively enjoy like
it's different, I guess, as well, because you don't feel pressure. You're in your own thoughts.
Yeah.
It's not like you need to report to someone, talk to a client. It's just like, well, this is my opinion. Okay, this is it. We will work this way. Probably not. It's like, oh,
yeah, that's interesting. What would I do if I was going to do that? I could do a LinkedIn post on this, blah, blah, blah. So that bit isn't stressful. What is definitely stressful and difficult to get a gauge on and knowing when like enough's enough is that there's not really ever, you can just keep going with marketing, right? It's like you could, within a strategy, you'd be like, oh, we said we're going to do 2 emails a month, for example. If you have capacity, it might be better to do 3 a month. Do you see what I mean? Or 4, or like you can just keep on going. Like 2 Instagram reels a week, that could be 5, really. Like, do you see what I mean? So there is a point when stuff becomes strategically unviable, but like the volume of work that you could be doing, you have to kind of get to a point where you're like, we need to draw a line in the sand here of like, this is enough volume for the like what I'm doing. Do you see what I mean? But that inclusive of obviously doing gigs and everything outside of work. So like in the Christmas period, basically in December and even before, pretty much every Friday or every Thursday, Friday and Saturday, I had a gig, and then I was working like 5 days a week. And then obviously in the evenings, it's hard to like switch off and wind down. And my wife has just started a business this year as well, so there's been a lot with that. So like work-life balance went out of the window.
But it's seasons, like I think Alex Hormozy talks about this, he said, I don't really believe in work-life balance. I believe in seasons. You've got a season, like you're probably in a season now where you're going to push. You're going to have a family, who knows, children and all that. And, then maybe it's time to, I don't know, focus on, have different priorities, you instead of posting every week, you're like, fuck it, we'll post once a month.
Yeah.
What a treat.
No, but you're right. And I kind of like, whilst I don't necessarily venerate hustle culture, like I don't think that's the greatest thing in the world, but I also don't think being lazy is the greatest thing either. And I'm fully aware that like, if you, like the harder you work, the more luck you have. It feels like, and everyone's, it's very easy to see people with a lot and kind of hate on them. But if you see the work that's put in to get that, you're kind of like, okay, then you start to respect it. And I think after, like my dad's very hardworking, my mum's very hardworking. And that's just kind of been imposed onto me as like how you're meant to live your life. Yeah. Like, what the fuck else are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? Just like, do you really want to just sit there and watch Netflix all day, every day, and like in a rented property and like never kind of, eating takeaway food and never really achieving much? Like, fair enough. I'm not hating on you if you want to do that, but that's not what I want to do. So work-life balance doesn't feel like a challenge because it feels like it's never going to be balanced, because that's not what good looks like to me. Do you know what I mean? I like to be striving for something at least. Hence why I've just signed up for the half marathon as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's putting you out of your comfort zone.
Oh, yeah, horrendous. Like, I've always gone to the gym and sort of lifted weights since I was like 15 and played football and stuff like that. And then on New Year's Day, because I had a week off basically on the piss with my mum and dad and my wife and my brother and whatever in the UK, and I was kind of sick and I was kind of like down in the dumps, just eating loads of shit, drinking. Got up on New Year's Day, opened the laptop, I was like, right, I'm signing up to the half marathon. I was like, there's no way back, especially when I've got 10 weeks, here's my 50 quid, sign me up, go. And then now, like 2 weeks later and 4 runs later, I'm like, this is gonna be horrendous. So yeah, it's important to give yourself goals and keep on going. And I think that work-life balance is kind of a bit of a myth, It's like you say, seasons, chapters.
Yeah. But it's also like something that is crazy. Like I also like doing work, like you were saying, about coming from your family, and I think probably similar to me. Like if I was away with my family beginning of December, and before that we had like 3 podcast recordings or so. And I said, they will be ready next week or like 2 weeks time, whatever. I can't remember. Or at least one of them I said it will be ready next week. And the lady was like, well, yeah, but you're going away. I'm like, I enjoy editing while I'm away.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. Like, okay, I'm not going to do it on the detriment of like spending my time with my daughter, but then she'll
You'll
just
have
one and a half.
Pina colada.
Yeah, I love it. I honestly love it. I don't feel any other pressure. I don't have to worry about that many things. I just do my editing, you know.
Yeah.
Drink something, stop, come back to it. It's not like, oh, I'm just going there. As soon as I get into the room, I'm just gonna power through everything, you know, for like a week. Yeah. No, it's not like that. But
do you struggle if you don't have things to do?
It's actually something that came up kind of recent. You know, that if I go more than 7 days, I feel like I almost feel like, and I shouldn't. Almost like, oh, I have no purpose now.
No, I get it. I just so easy.
I just feel like I'm just eating and drinking, and I just feel like, you know, it's good life, but at the same time there is more to life.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It's tricky. There is beauty in work as well.
For sure. And I think we're both obviously very fortunate in the sense that fortunate and kind of being rewarded by the hard work that we've done initially, that we've managed to kind of carve out careers and lives where we're working on things that we actively enjoy doing, so it doesn't really feel like work. Because I'm exactly the same. Like I'll be there on holiday and I'll open my laptop and I'll start like making beats on my laptop. Do you know what I mean? And it still
doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, or I'll be there like editing a little stupid video or whatever, and it's like, people could consider that work, and like, why are you doing work when you should be relaxing? But it's like, one, I can't really relax. I struggle to not do anything. Yeah. But two, it's also like, well, why wouldn't you want to be doing something that's like productive or like creating? You know, so.
Yeah. My wife, she asked me actually not long ago. She was like, "How do you know that you like something, or how do you push through these? You know, she feels like, you know, more than 50% of the time I enjoy it, no matter what comes in my way, you know, in terms of work. But let's be honest, you know, it's not all
unicorns and
pink
rainbows.
And unicorns. Exactly. And you have time, and I'm like, sometimes I do it because I love it. Sometimes I do it because I have to do it.
Yeah, well, I think people confuse like the love of doing something with the love of having a duty to do something. So like, I don't necessarily enjoy doing fucking 12 gigs a month, but the duty I feel I have to saving up for our house deposit or providing for my wife if she ends up getting pregnant or whatever. I love that sense of duty. So it's like, and people will be like, how do you do it? You're doing a lot. And you're just like, well, because it's bigger than the individual thing.
There are people depending on you.
Yeah. And it's interesting how like the older I get, like I'm 32 in February, I think, 32, 31. I can't remember how old I am. That's how busy I've been.
No, but like, I'm the same. I'm 34, but I'm like,
am I? It also goes to shit after 30.
And it's also like, I don't really, in terms of time, I'm in a really good place, you know, which, to be fair, I think I got it from Gary Vee. As crazy as he sounds, you know, he says a lot of shit that sometimes I don't agree with, or he can be, again, hustle culture. He kind of changed recently. But one thing that he gave me was like this better relationship with time. I'm like, I'm young, fuck it, you know, 34
No,
is nothing.
That's probably one of the key things I took away from Gary Vee as well. Like, because he did a lot of work around like, oh, you're 40 or whatever, you got fucking ages or whatever. Because interestingly, I found him sort of halfway through uni, and I had to get to uni, because when I was 16, I went to music college in London and sort of didn't do a lot for 2 years other than sort of smoke weed and play drums. So I didn't get a lot done. And then I had to come back and redo like a maths GCSE, which I still didn't pass, and then had to redo my A-levels, and then I went to uni. So by the time I was like at uni, I was like 22. So I was like 4 years behind everyone else who was at uni. But then that was when I started like finding Jordan Peterson and Gary Vee and like Chris Williamson and all those people who were very early on in their sort of YouTube sort of careers. And I remember the Gary Vee piece about like, you've got ages.
You're just a baby.
You're just a baby. Yeah, like you're fine. Do you know what I mean? And then when I was there, like on sort of nights out or whatever with a bunch of 18-year-olds, I didn't feel so bad about it, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think we could go for hours, honestly.
We should. I'm gonna wet myself. So. These are dangerous things to have on the table. Yeah.
Mate, honestly, great conversation. And I think we'll do it again. You know, it's just so much fun, honestly.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me.
I just find find really hard to do more than one a month. But yeah, we'll get you back. Yeah, absolutely. I really enjoy this, and as I said, we could go for hours, but
No,
we've got
thanks,
to
man.
have an ending at some point.
Yeah, exactly.
Where
Yeah.
people find you if someone want to get in touch with you?
Yeah, so follow me on LinkedIn. Go check out the Snap website. Go check out
We'll add it in the
Rouge,
description.
Instagram, all of that. Yeah, like you'll just put all my handles at the bottom. To be honest, I'm linked. If you anything business related, LinkedIn. Anything sort of music related, Ruby Rouge, Bongo Boy, Slap and Tickle, Elsie and the Emeralds, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Cool. That
Thanks,
was it.
man. Cheers, bro.